presidents of Lithuania, Romania, Poland, and Latvia are visiting Kaunas. In the morning, presidents took part in the international symposium, The Idea of Europe. Afterwards, they held a meeting to discuss most pressing issues for the region. Now we are starting a joint press conference. First, we will hear the statements by the presidents. After, they will proceed to answer the questions of the press. I would like to invite the President of Lithuania, Gitanas Nausėda, to take the floor.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Excellencies. It's my great pleasure to welcome the Presidents of Latvia, Poland, and Romania in Kaunas, this year's European Capital of Culture. Our regional unity and ability to speak in one voice has been our strength throughout the years. It is particularly valuable now in the face of Russian aggression. During our meeting, we discussed mainly two topics: how to strengthen our regional security and defense, and how to support Ukraine to win the war. We live in times of tremendous security threats and challenges, time that requires decisiveness, resolve, and unity. So far, those have been the key words among the NATO allies. We must ensure it stays that way. It is very symbolic that next July, Lithuania will host NATO summit in Vilnius. The eastern flank of NATO, from north to south, must be significantly strengthened on land, in air, and the sea. On the road to Vilnius summit, we need to work together to achieve tangible results implementing the Madrid decisions. Let's do everything for the Vilnius summit to be a summit of decisions, to upgrade regional plans, to move to forward defense, to deploy brigade-scale units, to strengthen our air defense. We will have to address Ukrainian Euro-Atlantic aspirations as well. Russia is executing a brutal, bloody war in Ukraine that is aimed at harming the civilian population. It targets civilian objects and infrastructure in order to leave the citizens of Ukraine without access to the water and electricity, just when the winter colds have arrived. One Russian dictator, Stalin, tortured Ukrainian people with famine in the past, causing the Holodomor. Another Russian dictator, Putin, is now trying to break the Ukrainian society's resistance with missiles and bombs falling on the heads of civilian people. We must scale up our support to Ukraine. Air defense systems, weapons, military equipment, winter uniforms. Anything that Ukrainians ask for, we need to find a way to deliver. Because this is how they can win against the aggressor. This is how we all can win. We, the countries that have lived in Russia's vicinity for centuries, like no other, know that the aggressor can't be stopped with concessions. We need to continue with sanctions. There must be no resources left for the Kremlins to continue this war. Belarus must feel the consequences of its participation in the war as well. Russia will be defeated. Their war of aggression will be stopped. We need to have the mechanism in place to prosecute those responsible for the crimes of aggression. It is important to establish a special tribunal for that matter, and I invite my colleagues to support this idea, and I help pushing it forward. We should also work all together on strengthening the resilience of our societies to Russian propaganda and historical revisionism. It is important to promote our own fact-based narratives about the past and the present. It is important to consolidate our efforts around the issue of historical remembrance and bring the attention of our Western partners to communism crimes. Dear Egils, dear Andrzej, dear Klaus, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to you for visiting Kaunas today, for friendly and very productive cooperation, and for the regional unity that we all cherish. Thank you, paldies, dziękuję, mulțumesc.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ačiū. You will now hear the statement by the President of Romania, Klaus Iohannis.
Thank you very much, Excellencies, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here today at the summit of the presidents and to have shared the floor with my distinguished colleagues from Latvia, Lithuania, Poland during the presidential panel of the International Symposium, The Idea of Europe. Today's summit was a very welcome addition of my official visit to Latvia and Lithuania. Thank you once again, dear Presidents Nausėda and Levits, for your hospitality. Thank you all for the insightful thoughts expressed today. Our exchange today on the idea of Europe was extremely useful, and I'm glad to note that we all share the view that fundamental values such as democracy, freedom, human rights, which are at the core of Europe, will continue to guide our actions through these challenging times. On my side, I emphasize the need for a stronger global Europe, faithful to these values, that would continue coordinating closely with these traditional partners and allies, while also reaching out to other countries across the globe in this moment where we need the international community to stand united more than ever. I also underline the role of young people who are becoming more and more interested in these topics and want to be part of the debate. They are a generation empowered by the increased access to information from an early age on. Their energy and creativity are impressive, and they have the courage to speak up for what they believe in. The conference on the future of Europe was a unique opportunity to amplify young voices and bring the youth concerns and proposals on the table of the European Union institutions and member states. For Romania, it was a breath of fresh air to see young people's enthusiasm and interest to be part of this debate, as well as their optimism for the future of the European Union, despite all challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, during the summit, we also had the opportunity to discuss very important topics. Russia's brutal, illegal, and unjustifiable war against Ukraine has faced us all with multiple challenges. Our countries have been trustworthy supporters of Ukraine. So has been the entire Euro-Atlantic community. One thing is clear: we must maintain Western unity and strategic resolve in the face of Russia's renewed efforts to divide us, including through escalation attempts, food shortages, energy blackmail, and disinformation. We discussed today on the ways to continue our political, economic, technical, and humanitarian assistance. Romania is the European Union NATO ally to share the longest border with Ukraine. And we have been an active and honest supporter since day one, and we will continue to be so. I have presented some of Romania's concrete and multi-directional actions. We facilitated the entry of almost 3 million Ukrainians into Romania. We received them with open arms. Romania has facilitated the export of over 7 million tons of Ukrainian grain through our territory in order to help the Ukrainian economy and its war effort, and to manage also the global food crisis. Romania's support for Ukraine will remain multidimensional and comprehensive, working on several tracks: political, economic, including reconstruction, financial, humanitarian, through the instruments of international law, seeking accountability and fighting impunity, transport, and agriculture. With regard to the reconstruction of Ukraine, I have pointed out that there is high need for help of the international community and that Romania is ready to be part of this effort. An important topic on our agenda was the situation of the Republic of Moldova. Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine has a deep and wide-ranging impact on the Republic of Moldova. Currently, the country is exposed to mounting pressures intended to hinder or derail its pro-European, pro-democratic development course. I called for our collective, continuous and firm support for a democratic, pro-European and reform-oriented agenda of our partners in Chișinău. We need to mitigate the negative impact of Russia's actions on the Republic of Moldova by continuing to provide direct assistance in a coordinated and streamlined manner. A useful instrument is the Moldova Support Platform, created and launched by Romania together with Germany and France. Just a few days ago, the third Moldova Support Conference took place in Paris after the second had been organized in Bucharest. We must also continue to vocally expose Russia's flagrant violations and abuses in all international fora. I have also pointed out that, given the security situation on the Black Sea, the full implementation of the decisions of the Madrid summit in terms of strength and the posture and defense on the eastern flank is paramount. I have pleaded for the coherence of our deterrence and defense posture on the entire eastern flank, from the Baltic to the Black Sea. In spirit of solidarity and commitment, Romania will resume its participation with air policing missions in the Baltic state starting next year. Next week, we will be hosting in Bucharest a NATO foreign ministers meeting where we will discuss the progress made in the implementation of the Madrid summit. This meeting in Bucharest will also be crucial for preparing further deliverables and decisions for the next NATO summit, which will be held in Lithuania in 2023. Last but not least, I have pointed out that Romania supports the joint efforts meant to promote European memory, fighting disinformation and the attempts to rewrite history. The Russian aggression against Ukraine is also proof of alarming rise of authoritarianism. We should also prevent manipulating historical facts for propagandistic reasons. I also welcome the adoption of our joint statement on the regional security and European integration. I thank you.
Thank you. Mulțumesc. I invite the President of Poland, Andrzej Duda, to take the floor.
Szanowni Panowie Prezydenci, Szanowni Państwo, przede wszystkim chcę bardzo serdecznie podziękować Panu Prezydentowi Gitanasowi Nausedzie za zaproszenie tutaj do Kowna na to spotkanie dotyczące przyszłości Europy, ale będące w istocie także i elementem zwieńczenia tego okresu, kiedy Kowno jest europejską stolicą kultury.
Distinguished presidents, ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, I would like to start by thanking President of Lithuania, Gitanas Nausėda, for inviting us here to Kaunas to participate in the meeting on the future of Europe, which is also an element of crowning of this celebration of Kaunas as a European city of culture.
Tak jak powiedzieliśmy w czasie tego naszego spotkania, wszyscy Jesteśmy my, jako narody Europy Środkowej, częścią szeroko pojętej kultury europejskiej, kultury Zachodu, kultury chrześcijańskiej.
And as we said during our meeting, all of us, all the nations of Central Europe are part of the broadly understood European culture, the culture of the West and the culture of Christianity.
Zawsze byliśmy częścią Europy i byliśmy częścią wielkiej europejskiej wspólnoty, niezależnie od tego, jak przez ostatnie 1000 lat toczyły się meandry historii.
And indeed, we have always been part of Europe. We have always been part of this great European community, irrespective of how history, what kind of course history has taken over the last 1000 years.
Właśnie dlatego jesteśmy tu dzisiaj, kiedy Rosja zaatakowała Ukrainę, właśnie dlatego, że Ukraina chce być częścią Europy, tej Europy wolnej, niepodległej, demokratycznej.
And that is why precisely we are here today. We are here in the aftermath of Russian attack against Ukraine. The Ukraine which wants to be part of Europe, of the free, independent and democratic Europe.
Stoimy dzisiaj wszyscy, my, prezydenci państw Europy Centralnej, przy Ukrainie i za Ukrainą.
And today we stand, all of us, the presidents of Central European countries, with Ukraine and at Ukraine's side.
I potwierdzamy to nie tylko w sensie werbalnym, nie tylko poprzez oświadczenie, ale także, jak powiedział przed chwilą pan prezydent Gitanas Nauseda, poprzez szeroko pojętą pomoc, którą na co dzień niesiemy Ukrainie i obrońcom Ukrainy.
And we confirm that not only verbally, we confirm that not only through the issuing of statements, but as President Gitanas Nauseda has just remarked, we are doing that also through broadly delivered help and assistance, which we do on a daily basis, providing this assistance to the defenders of Ukraine.
Polska wspiera Ukrainę od początku, od czasu, kiedy Ukraina została napadnięta przez Rosję, wspiera obronę Ukrainy, wspiera ją cały czas i będzie ją wspierała.
Poland supports Ukraine right from the start, right from the beginning of the Russian invasion. Poland has supported Ukraine in its defense, and it is going to go down this path in the future as well.
Jesteśmy częścią wolnego świata i tak jak pozostałe narody Europy Środkowej, zwłaszcza te reprezentowane dziś tu przez panów prezydentów, wierzymy głęboko w to, że każdy naród europejski ma prawo do samostanowienia i do decydowania o sobie. Także i oczywiste to jest, że to samo prawo ma naród Ukrainy.
We are part of the free world, and all of us, as we stand here today, all the presidents representing Central European countries which stand here today, believe that every nation has the right to self-determination. Every nation has the right to decide about their fate and about their future, and this holds also for the nation of Ukraine.
Jeżeli naród Ukrainy chce, aby jego państwo było częścią Unii Europejskiej, jeżeli naród Ukrainy chce, by jego państwo było częścią Sojuszu Północnoatlantyckiego, ma do tego prawo i to prawo musi mu być przez wspólnotę międzynarodową zagwarantowane.
And if the nation of Ukraine wants to be part of the European Union, if the nation of Ukraine wants to be part of NATO, then it has every right to do so. And the international community must go to all lengths to make sure that this right is asserted.
Nikt nie ma prawa Ukrainie i Ukraińcom tego prawa odebrać.
And no one has the right to deny this right from Ukraine and from the Ukrainian nation.
Dlatego wszyscy razem tu, w Kownie i w każdym innym miejscu, gdzie jesteśmy przy nich i jesteśmy z nimi.
That is why everywhere we are, be it in Kaunas or in any other place, we stand with them and we stand behind them.
I wierzę w to, że to jest istota dyskusji na temat przyszłości Europy.
And I believe this is the essence of the discussion on the future of Europe.
Każdy, kto chce, ma prawo być jej częścią.
Everyone who wants has the right to be part of it.
I to nie tylko pod względem geograficznym, ale właśnie także pod względem mentalnym, pod względem kulturowym.
And this stands not only for geography, but also for mentality and in terms of culture.
Jesteśmy tutaj po to, by to gwarantować. Jesteśmy solidarni wzajemnie i jesteśmy solidarni także i z wszystkimi tymi, którzy chcą być prawdziwie wolni, niepodlegli i suwerenni.
And we are here today to guarantee solidarity among ourselves and also to guarantee solidarity to all those who want to be free, independent and sovereign.
I dlatego, tak jak powiedziałem, stoimy przy Ukrainie, jesteśmy z Ukrainą i wspieramy Ukrainę i współdziałamy ze sobą w zakresie realizacji tego zadania.
And just as I said, I want to reiterate once again, we stand with Ukraine, we are supporting Ukraine, we are doing that in cooperation with each other.
Współpracujemy ze sobą zarówno w ramach Sojuszu Północnoatlantyckiego, jak i wewnątrz Sojuszu Północnoatlantyckiego w ramach bukaresztańskiej dziewiątki. To kwestia bezpieczeństwa militarnego, ale także współpracujemy ze sobą w ramach współpracy Trójmorza jako państwa Europy Środkowej, rozwijając naszą infrastrukturę, przede wszystkim tą cywilną, po to, by poprawić warunki do rozwoju gospodarczego.
We are cooperating among ourselves within NATO, and we are cooperating among ourselves also within the B9 format, which is a part of NATO. We are doing that in order to provide security, military security, but also we are cooperating as part of the Three Seas initiative, which is bringing together the countries of Central Europe. We are doing that in order to develop and to boost our infrastructure development. I'm speaking here first and foremost about civilian infrastructure, of course, but we are doing all that in order to achieve the goal of boosted economic security.
Każde nasze spotkanie służy rozwijaniu tej współpracy i każde nasze spotkanie zarazem służy potwierdzeniu tej współpracy. Dlatego jeszcze raz bardzo dziękuję panom prezydentom za tą możliwość spotkania tu w Kownie i za dzisiejszą dyskusję.
And every single meeting that we hold is conducive to the development of this cooperation. Every single meeting that we have confirms also our cooperation. And on that note, I would like to thank the presidents for this possibility of meeting here today in Kaunas and holding those important discussions. Thank you.
Thank you. Dziękuję bardzo. You will now hear the statement by the President of Latvia, Egils Levits.
Thank you. Dear President Nausėda, the President Iohannis, the President Duda, I think that this was an excellent idea to have this seminar, this conference about the idea of Europe here in Kaunas, because the European idea is formed since 2000 years and is formed and developed and built in every place, in Europe, in Romania, in Poland, in Lithuania, in Latvia, and also here in Kaunas. We have received the message this year that in the year 2027, the next European capital will be the Latvian city Liepāja. And there is an interesting link between Kaunas and Liepāja, because Kaunas and Liepāja both were, to a certain time, capitals, provisional capitals of the countries. I think we had today a very fruitful discussion about this idea. In my view, European idea consists nowadays of three elements. This is a political system, democracy, the first element. The second element is a culture, cultural roots since 2000 years, beginning with ancient times, and then Christianity formed the European identity in a very important manner, and culture, and also we have to think about the European future, and the problem is where are the borders of Europe. And I think that the borders are subjective and moving, and accordingly to our perception. If a country joins European values, is democratic, and the European culture is there, then also this is a European country. We have also discussed that we are developing idea of Europe today also here in Kaunas, because Europe is never completed. And today we have witnessed that the political center of the European Union has moved a little bit towards east and north, because of the actions of our states, because we have given since the 21st of February this year, very important impulses for the European Union, for our Western friends, but also I would say that these events in the year 2022, the war against Ukraine, is strengthening the European identity, the topic of our conference, because we are more aware of our common heritage and also on our common task to defend these values, to defend the idea of Europe, to defend Europe. And therefore, we are also witnessing several crises in the world, in global world, but also in Europe, energy crisis, security crisis, also economic crisis. But in my view, the identity of Europe is not in crisis. The idea of Europe is not in crisis. On the contrary, is stronger than ever. And this is a good message amongst bad messages. Idea of Europe is very strong, and we are ready and we are willing to defend Europe. Therefore, we have discussions about security issues and deterrence of Russia. The best deterrence is to show the strength. Because if we are strength in military sense, if we are united in political sense, then of course the adversary would not attack Europe, because he will know that he will lose. And therefore it is necessary investments should be done in our military capacities. And in the same time, we should help Ukraine to defend itself, because Ukraine is defending our values, our Europe, and Ukraine is an integral part of Europe, because all three elements that I mentioned earlier should be applied also to Ukraine. At the end, we have agreed on a declaration on security and integration of Europe, where we stressed the necessity of unity and also to help Ukraine in every possible way: military help, economic help, and financial help. We are participating, as my colleagues from countries, in the program to help Ukraine to export grain, and we hope that it would also have a contribution to the global food crisis. I think we can go away from this conference with an optimistic view that the idea of Europe is very strong, and we are ready to build further our common Europe. At the end, I will mention one proposal, because Russia has interfered in international law with the attack to Ukraine in is a most heavily way what is possible after the Second World War, and therefore Latvia is, together with other countries, like-minded countries, supporting the idea to build a special tribunal on the war of aggression from Russia to Ukraine, because till now there is no international court responsible for this heaviest crime, international crime. And I think it is possible from judicial point of view. We should strengthen the political will to promote this idea in a more concentrated way. So again, I thank President Nausėda for the initiative to have this conference here. I thank the rector of the university. I thank the city of Kaunas for receiving us, and European idea is strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Paldies. I now invite media representatives to pose their question to the presidents. Please come to the microphone, introduce yourself, and indicate who is your question addressed to. Please.
Hello, my name is Ostea Masakaite. I'm from Baltic News Service news agency. My question is for President Nausėda and for President Duda about the Patriot systems. For Lithuanian President, I wanted to ask, do you think that it is enough to have Patriot systems in Poland, or do you think that they should be transferred to the Ukrainians? And for Mr. Duda, I wanted to ask, will you be trying to convince your German partners, German government, to change their mind and to give the systems to the Ukrainian side? Thank you very much.
Szanowni Państwo, z wojskowego punktu widzenia oczywiście byłoby najlepiej, gdyby dla ochrony także i polskiego terytorium te rakiety znajdowały się w pewnej odległości od polskiej granicy na terytorium Ukrainy. Wtedy rzeczywiście najwydajniej chroniłyby i pomagałyby w ochronie zarówno Ukrainy, jak i Polski.
Ladies and gentlemen, looking from the military perspective, of course, it would be best for the protection of Poland as well to have those missiles deployed in a certain distance from the Polish border in the territory of Ukraine. In that case, they would provide the best possible protection both for Ukraine and for Poland.
Ale decyzja w sprawie ich rozmieszczenia oczywiście należy do strony, która dysponuje tymi rakietami i tymi wyrzutniami, całym tym systemem, czyli w tym przypadku do strony niemieckiej, do naszych sojuszników w ramach NATO, do Niemiec.
However, as far as the decision is concerned on the deployment of those missiles, on the deployment of launchers, on the deployment of the entire system, this decision is up to Germany, is up to our allies within NATO, up to Germans.
Będą tą decyzję w związku z tym nasi sojusznicy musieli podjąć. Ja mogę powiedzieć jako prezydent Polski tylko tyle, że zależy mi na tym, żeby terytorium Polski było jak najlepiej chronione.
So our allies will have to make this decision, those who have the systems at their disposal. What I can say in my capacity as President of the Republic of Poland is to make sure that the territory of our country, of Poland, is protected as best as it can be.
To jest dla mnie sprawa oczywista. Moim obowiązkiem jako prezydenta Rzeczypospolitej jest w pierwszej kolejności ochrona polskich obywateli i polskiego terytorium.
So actually this is something which is obvious to me. It is my duty as President of Poland to protect first and foremost Polish citizens and the Polish territory.
I think that the question of air defense or the air defense systems is much more complicated issue and complex issue than just only the question to have the Patriots in the country or not to have them. And yes, we remember and we will remind our partners, NATO allies, that a very important element of the conclusions of NATO summit in Madrid was air defense systems in the eastern flank of NATO. Air defense as a principle. And this is the reason why we have to switch from the declarations to the actions, to the decisions. And I hope very much, I'm looking forward to cooperate with all allies, but also with Germany, which is responsible for EFP leadership, to cooperate on different kind of elements of air defense system. And as I mentioned, the air defense systems are not only about Patriots. And we will seek the opportunity to implement their defense system in Lithuania, and we will talk about the concrete elements of air defense systems in my country.
I'm Cristian Citre, Euronews Romania. My question is for all presidents. There is an important debate about imposing a price cap on Russian oil in order to curb Moscow's ability to pay for its war in Ukraine, but without causing a global oil supply shock. No agreement was reached yesterday within the European countries. Poland proposed a $30 price cap, and President Zelensky just thanked you for that. Question is, do you think an agreement is possible until the 5th of December? What would be a reasonable compromise? Thank you.
I always believe in the compromise, and I think it depends on the goodwill of the partners. And the price caps are important as an element of our anti-inflationary policy in many countries, and I hope that the decisions will be done. And we need not only theoretical decisions which have very limited impact on the real life. We need the decisions which are actually dealing with huge problem of energy prices, and you can follow and you can observe. In many countries it's becoming the issue number one, and sometimes even overshadowing the support to Ukraine. And I think that we should show certain unity among the European Union members regarding this issue, and I hope that the maneuver or room for maneuver is still there, and we have to use it. Other presidents?
No remarks? Please second the question.
Dzień dobry, Żaklina Skowrońska, Telewizja Polska. Chciałabym do pana prezydenta Andrzeja Dudy skierować swoje pytanie. Po pierwsze, panie prezydencie, ile bliżej jesteśmy wyjaśnienia tego, co wydarzyło się w Przewodowie kilkanaście dni temu, na jakim etapie jest to śledztwo? I chciałabym jeszcze dopytać pana prezydenta w kontekście niemieckiej propozycji przekazania Polsce zestawów Patriot. Czy pan prezydent jako zwierzchnik sił zbrojnych także będzie się próbował w tę dyskusję, będzie chciał pan prezydent się w tę dyskusję włączyć? Jak pan prezydent widzi swoją rolę w tej dyskusji? Bardzo dziękuję.
Jacqueline Skowronska from the Polish television. My question is for the Polish president, for President Andrzej Duda. Mr. President, I would like to ask about the event in Przewodów and how much closer are we to clarifying what happened there several days ago. And my second question concerns the German proposal of deploying Patriot missiles to Poland. In your capacity as Supreme Commander of the Polish Armed Forces, are you planning to join in the discussions on this issue? How do you see your role?
Szanowna Pani redaktor, to niestety w Przewodowie doszło do tragicznego wypadku, który zaistniał z winy rosyjskiej. To Rosja wywołała agresję, zaatakowała Ukrainę i 15 listopada to właśnie Rosja wysłała dziesiątki rakiet, bombardując tymi rakietami terytorium Ukrainy. Ukraina się broniła, doszło do nieszczęśliwego wypadku. Śledztwo jest w toku. Sprawa jest wyjaśniana. Śledczy zakończyli swoje prace na miejscu zdarzenia. W tej chwili trwają badania laboratoryjne. Według informacji, które do mnie docierają, nic nie zmienia tego, co Państwo do tej pory ode mnie mogliście na ten temat usłyszeć. Tak to w tej chwili wygląda. Czekamy wszyscy na zakończenie czynności śledczych. Oczywiście w żaden sposób w nie nie ingeruję.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, in Przewodów, indeed, a tragic accident happened. Of course, it is the fault of Russia, because it was Russia who started the aggression against Ukraine. It was Russia who attacked Ukraine. So actually, on the 15th of November, tens of missiles were launched by Russia on the Ukrainian territory. Russian missiles bombarded and rained down on the Ukrainian territory. Ukraine defended itself. As a result of that defense, this tragic accident happened. As far as the investigation is concerned, the investigation is still ongoing. Of course, all the activities on the spot of the accident have been now closed. We are now in the phase of laboratory tests, which are being conducted. As far as my position is concerned, nothing has changed from the moment I made my statement. All of us are waiting for the conclusion of the investigation, and of course, I'm not intervening in it in any way.
Thank you. We have time for one more question from the media.
First of all, I'd like to follow up about this missile issue with Mr. Duda. At first, there were reports about 2 missiles. Later, there were discussions about only 1 missile. Maybe you could elaborate how that happened. And for all presidents, I wanted to ask about the next sanctions package. What do you think should be in the next sanctions package for Russia? And when do you think the European leaders may reach an agreement on that? Thank you very much.
Szanowna Pani, wiem, że była informacja początkowo na temat tego, że były 2 rakiety. Podjęto w Polsce czynności śledcze i czynności sprawdzające. Na terenie Polski nie znaleziono żadnego śladu drugiej rakiety. Mamy informację, że była rzeczywiście druga rakieta, ale nie spadła na terytorium Polski, tylko była wyłącznie nad terytorium Ukrainy.
Madam, I do know that there was initially information passed that there were 2 missiles which hit the Polish territory, and Poland started clarification procedures and investigation right away. No trace of the second missile has been identified in Poland. There was this information indeed, and actually there was no second missile, as I said. There is just confirmed information that one missile hit the Polish territory, and there is information on the second missile flying over the territory of Ukraine.
Well, I can answer the question regarding the sanctions. Having in mind what is happening in recent days, this incident in Poland, and of course very massive shelling in the Ukrainian territory, we have to strengthen our sanctions policy, and we have already the signals from the President of European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, that it will be done. According to Lithuanian position, we should introduce more persons and institutions into the list of sanctioned people. Military industry, also we have to talk about the swifting of other Russian commercial banks, especially Gazprom Bank. We have to talk about including into the list of sanctioned persons the judges of Constitutional Court of Russian Federation, including Rosatom, which is responsible for these nuclear threats within the territory of Ukraine. So all these decisions should be done, otherwise our steps will be too small and will not have effective impact on the behavior of Russia.
Any more remarks on the sanctions? The press conference is over. Thank you very much and have a great day.